Pakistan has a new guest, a dangerous but hardly surprising one. It's the Islamic State. And talk about a deadly combo. Pakistan alone is a major threat to regional peace. The Islamic State needs no introduction. And now they're together. So what's the story here? Pakistan's Interior Ministry has released a new assessment. It talks about terror groups in the country. The big focus was on the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Now, the TTP is a known threat. They've launched dozens of attacks in the last few years. But the Islamic State warning is worrying. Pakistan says it is trying to establish a foothold in the country. Their target? Shia Muslims and other minorities. We've already seen examples of this. In July last year, a political rally in Pakistan was bombed. Around 54 people were killed. Later on, Islamic State claimed responsibility. So why isn't the Pakistan army cracking down? For starters, they're busy elsewhere, like jailing opposition leaders, bringing back exiled politicians, and rigging elections. They have a lot on their plate. Basically everything except fighting terrorism. So it's a free run for these groups. In 2023, they carried out dozens of attacks. Put together, around 1,000 people were killed in Pakistan, 500 civilians plus 500 officials. It's the highest casualty in almost 6 years. So clearly, there is a problem. We'll tell you why the Islamic State warning is a big worry for the neighborhood, but first some background. The Islamic State in Pakistan is different from ISIS. ISIS operates in Iraq and Syria. This one is called ISKP, the Islamic State of Khorasan province. Now, Khorasan does not exist today. It's a historical region that once spanned Iran and Afghanistan. So ISKP is named after that place, Islamic State of Khorasan province. It was formed between 2014 and 2015. The members were drawn from two main groups, the Afghan Taliban and the TTP. Both these groups had national ambitions. Afghan Taliban wanted to rule Kabul. TTP wanted to rule over Islamabad. But some of them said, think bigger. Think of a regional or international caliphate. So they broke away and formed ISKP. Its peak was in 2016. Back then, it had some 3,000 fighters. The ISKP did have links with the Islamic State in West Asia, but operationally, it was a separate entity. So why are they targeting Pakistan? A couple of reasons for that. Number one, Afghanistan is becoming a no-go zone. You see, the Islamic State and the Taliban are rivals. The Taliban are actually hunting ISKP fighters. And no, it's not because they've changed. It's because they have no other option. If Afghanistan becomes a terror launch pad, foreign forces could return, the Taliban may be toppled again, so it's all about self-preservation. As a result, ISKP fighters are pouring into Pakistan, and they're coming with weapons. The US abandoned a lot of hardware when they left Kabul. Things like guns, ammunition, and night vision goggles, they left all of it. The United Nations says ISKP is using those same weapons that the Americans left behind. Reason number two, Pakistan's reluctance to hit back. Since 2022, terror attacks have increased 93% in border regions, a 93% spike. Soldiers are regularly targeted in Pakistan, like last month in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, a suicide bombing killed 23 soldiers. Yet the army is almost hesitant to hit back. They've chosen other tactics, like fencing the Afghan border and deporting millions of Afghans back to their home. The question is why? Why not fight fire with fire? Because of Pakistan's long-standing policy. According to them, there is good and bad terrorism. If they crack down on the TTP, it helps the ISKP. If they crack down on the ISKP, it helps the TTP. Because these groups are rivals. So I guess Pakistan is caught in its own trap. They spent years choosing which terrorists to support. Now it's all coming back to haunt them. But how should the world see it? Well, the West is caught in a bind. They don't really care about the TTP. As far as Washington is concerned, the TTP only has ambitions inside Pakistan. But the Islamic State is a different ballgame. We are talking about a group with global ambitions, a group that targets the West. So the rise of the ISKP will worry them, should worry them. Same for the neighborhood. In 2022, the ISKP claimed 2 attacks in India, bomb blasts in Coimbatore and Mangaluru. Last year, an ISKP module was busted in the state of Gujarat. 5 Indians tried to join the group in Afghanistan. So the threat is real. And why just India? Other neighbors have also felt the heat. like the 2019 Easter bombing in Sri Lanka or the 2016 Dhaka attack, both were claimed by the Islamic State. So it's a problem that affects the entire region. With the right intentions, Pakistan can end this threat. But right intentions are not Pakistan's strong suit.